Yay! Dual picture. Wait, let's do one more. Dual picture. Fantastic.
Hello, Daniel. So, this past weekend, I went with the orchestra to Seattle, which was really cool since I had never really been there before. It was rainy and cloudy, as one would expect, and this made for some rather poor video-making environments. The trip as a whole was a great experience, seeing the Space Needle, eating at a place called Whole Foods, which is apparently some sort of natural food store / restaurant, seeing the Seattle Symphony, which I was too nervous to bring my camera into, briefly seeing the sun, and staying with the lovely family of one of the other cellists, who, in addition to narrating our entire ride back to their house...
We were just heading south, and now we've turned in an easterly direction.
So Broadway, or as Tom calls it, Broadway, this is kind of the gay neighborhood, gay scene.
Well, the heterosexuals are allowed here, too.
They do. It's a lovely park.
That was built for the volunteers of the Spanish-American War and the conquest of the Philippines and the torture and maltreatment of the natives.
Have floor-to-ceiling bookshelves in nearly every room. All that being said, the trip did revolve almost entirely around our performances, so the things that stick with me the most are the places that we performed. We performed in two places. The first night was in Town Hall, and the next morning we played at our local high school, which I forget the name of. Town Hall was easily one of the coolest buildings I have ever been in. I did a quick bit of research and discovered that it was built in the early 1900s as a church for Christian Scientists, and became Town Hall only about 15 years ago. The age and character of the building is obvious, and it's probably one of the most beautiful places I've ever played. The school we played in was obviously very large, much larger than my high school, but the auditorium, while still being significantly nicer than my high school's, looked like it had a similar, at least comparable capacity. We performed for some other students, and with that, our 2-concert tour was finished, and we loaded up the buses to head home. But then this happened.
From the Rumor Mill, the main arterial pass, Snoqualmie Pass, is closed, and it really doesn't look like it's going to be open at all today, from what I've heard and seen. So we are required, necessary to take another route.
This is a weird concept to me coming from a flat state, but when there's a big mountain range cutting your state into two parts, traffic has to be funneled through whatever passes are available. Fortunately, there was another pass further south, and I'm actually glad we went that way instead, because it was really stunningly beautiful, even in fully cloudy conditions. A couple of glens we passed by reminded me of scenes I have thought of from my dream home, and that probably sounds weird, but the video I took really doesn't do the landscape justice. So that was basically the trip. It might sound oversimplified, but it was a short trip to do essentially one thing, and that was perform. One more interesting thing did happen, but it occurred while I was editing the video back in Walla Walla. While I was at Town Hall, I took a quick shot of a plaque on the wall, with the intent to read it later. It turned out to be a poem by Poet Laureate Robert Pinsky for the opening of Town Hall. The opening lines resonated with me a lot, not just in relation to the orchestra trip, but in my decision to go as far as I did to go to college. The poem begins, "The hero travels homeward and outward at once, master of circumstance and slave to chance." Daniel, I'll see you tomorrow.